Hiya. So there's this sort of I don't know if I should call it a pandemic or a disease going on in the guitar community, which I've noticed it going on like ever since I started playing guitar and ever since I started practicing. I see that as I got better, I noticed some um, things in my playing that are kind of different compared to other people who have also played for a while. In the sense that you can notice, I mean, there are things of someone who could be considered a more experienced player, and you can see the differences in that person and someone who's a beginner. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you hold the guitar like this, or the guitar. Your left hand is like this instead of this. More of a vertical position rather than a horizontal position. You would assume that after a long time of training and practice, I would say 2 years, even probably less than 2 years. It doesn't take that long time for you or your hand to realize that most of the time your left hand, if you're going to be playing guitar, is going to be like this. So your left hand naturally starts developing this habit of being around the fretboard like this, as it should be. But there are people who play the guitar for years and who I met who their left hand isn't trained at all to be like that. And their left hand is like this. And whenever they have to play something that isn't chords, they go like they play with just these two fingers. They're not as smooth when it comes to going from one fret to another. And it made me wonder, went out of my way to ask this person, why, you've been playing for this long? And I didn't mean it as a judgmental way. I was really confused and interested to know why this is happening with this person. And they told me that they've always played just open chords. There's a plus, there's a positive, and there's a negative to that, in a sense that this disease and pandemic that I'm talking about is pretty much open chords, or pop music, if I can say it like that. Now, I'm not hating on pop music. I'm a pop music listener myself. I like new pop. I like new stuff that comes out. I like old stuff from the 80s disco pop. I like all kinds of pop music. I'm not discriminating towards pop music, but there are people who get into guitar just to play open chords, right? They get, I don't know, 22 fret guitars, 24 fret guitars, and they just use these 3 frets just for their open string chords, which I never understood. You have all this fretboard. You have all these frets. Why would you limit yourself just to these 3 frets? Or if they decide to play somewhere else, you get the fucking capo. They put the capo on a different fret, and hooray, we've progressed further into the fretboard. Anyways, that's just stupid. The thing that I've seen with these people, I don't know why I said these people, with these guitarists, is that they're very afraid of the word solo, right? If you ask them, hey, can you play, if you don't have to play chords, what else would you play? And they just shut up and they don't know what to say. And even if you suggest the idea of a solo, they freak out. Do you know why? Because the modern definition of a solo is this. Speed. And people are afraid of that. People who just stick to chords are afraid of playing solo because, oh, I can't play fast. Solos are not about being fast, right? You don't believe me? Listen to some of the greatest solos ever. Listen to Pink Floyd, David Gilmour. You see, is there any, do you hear any speed there? There could be like some occasional, parts where he plays kind of fast, but that's it. Same thing goes for Gary Moore. Some of the best guitarists, solo guitarists, right, are not shredders, right? Because that's the first thing to people's minds, that like when you ask them, do you know what's a solo? That's what they think. They just think speed and fast, right? So the smallest like suggestion, like, hey, you could play solo over these chords, you know that? Like, no, that's fast, I can't do that. Solos don't have to be fast, right? That's the thing. These people are too afraid to leave the open chords and try to figure out something else, or to try to play a different kind of music. Like, for example, power chords. Power chords are just as fun and probably even easier. But no, that's too loud, that's metal, that's not good. The problem with these, I need to stop saying these people, with these musicians or these guitarists, is that their hand gets used, the left hand gets used to just being stuck around like these 3 frets. So it gets to a point where this hand never stretches at all. You never have to do any kind of a stretching or any, like even the least amount. Like the only stretch that you do is like probably, I don't know, like when you have to like pretty much change chords. And honestly, for a beginner guitarist, that's an amazing thing. If you can change chords on time and play them and all that stuff, that's great, right? That's progress, and that's a good thing. And I applaud all these people for being able to do that. And I don't say that sarcastically. The fact that your hand is used to applying just the right amount of pressure on the string so that you can make it ring, that's progress, and that's a good thing, because some people experience like so much struggle to get even to that point. This is what I don't understand. You've gotten so far in guitar. You've gotten to a point where your fingers are used to like being able to switch from one chord to another perfectly. Again, applying the right amount of pressure and all of that. You've gotten to that point, and you think, that's it. I mastered this instrument. Let's see what else I can do. Why? Because they just stick to pop music. They just stick to open strings. Why? What happens if you have to play an F chord? What do we have to play F major? What do you do then? I never understood that. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I don't understand the idea of limiting yourself to just one genre, or just limiting yourself to open chords. There's no, but just get like, I would say just get a ukulele, but even in ukulele you can do cool stuff. You can solo, because again, people are so afraid of this idea of soloing that it's like solo doesn't mean speed. This is the thing that people don't understand. It doesn't have to be speed. At the end of the day, chords and solos are just accompanying each other. It's not about speed, You shouldn't be worried about like not being able to keep up or something when it comes to solo, because that's not what soloing is about. At the end of the day, music and like different instruments, it's all about accompanying. That's the idea. I never understood that. Like, why would you just stick to these 3 frets when you have all of this here? You have 20 frets, if not even more, like depending on your guitar. Why would you just stick to open chords? All they do, and I don't mean to be mean to them, but all they do is they learn open chords. They play pop music, which is the same chords over and over again. And whenever they have to play something out of their league or something they don't know, they either say it's too fast, or they get capos and put them somewhere here, and they're like, yeah, congratulations, and they're playing the same open chords again. Your hand becomes like this because it's not used to stretching anywhere. The only stretch that they get is only in these 3 frets. So whenever they have to play something like whatever it is, even like slow stuff, again, their hands are like this. And that's sad to me, because you're really wasting your potential and you're wasting your talent. Again, I've said it before. The fact that you've managed to get to a point where you know how to apply the right amount of pressure to the strings, you know how to change chords on time and all that stuff, that's an achievement on its own. But I never understood, why would you think that that's the peak? That's all you're going to do? When the guitar, I don't understand this, because for me this is passion, right? For me this is this and my other guitar and whatever, like music is, for me, is like relaxation. So like it's like therapy. And there are different ways you can enjoy the guitar. There's so many different playing styles, different genres, different chords, different solos, different notes. There's so much variety in that. And each of that variety is a different way you can pretty much like release some dopamine in here. I never understood, why would you get a whole guitar if you're just gonna use the 3 frets? It does not make sense to me. So stop limiting yourself, learn new stuff. That's the cool thing about guitar. It's pretty much the learning process, which is eternal, right? Keep learning. The fun is in learning. Stop with the freaking 3 frets here. Stop with the open chords. Start stretching the left hand a little bit. Start playing solo slowly. You don't need to be fast. And that's my advice in general. Like, seriously, enough with the... I'm not saying that it's mediocre. Again, I see it as an achievement that you can play those kind of stuff. And that's great. But do not limit yourself to that. And don't think that that's what guitar is. Like, that's the peak or something like that. There's so much you can discover. And there's so much that you should discover. And just do that. Okay? Do it. Learn new stuff. Thank you.